Today's story is of my client, Natalia of Green Studio. She booked her first ever 8K project and has secured multiple four-figure offers that have her almost booked out for the rest of the year. Her story is so inspiring, especially for busy moms who struggle to make time for money-making activities, because she did all the work of my program while moving to a new city, unpacking a new house, her husband breaking his foot, and her 1-year-old baby learning to walk. Not only is her journey inspiring, but her ability to commit and implement is what has helped her achieve all of this as well. So let's dive into her story. Natalia, why don't you go ahead and tell everyone a bit more about what you do and who you help?
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny that like when you read what I do,
Mhm.
it's funny because I guess that like I'm a multitask mom and I do
Yeah.
everything from my heart. So the essence of why I started a business is because I want to help people have that same thing in their life. And I guess
Mm.
that web design sort of snowballed into my profession. It's a long story of why I ended up in web design, but through web design is how I can help people shine. And that really makes me very happy. And I do that with just, finding the correct words with storytelling and with the copywriting that goes in your website. And I'm also a super nerd, like you mentioned, like that directly implements. So if I said I picked web design, I have to be super good at SEO. And
Yeah.
so those are like my two superpowers. So I help people like simplify their marketing efforts through a website telling their story.
Yeah, and your website designs are so beautiful as well. So it doesn't surprise me that people are
Thank
like,
you.
yep, like sign me up, take my money. I want you to design this website for me. So,
Yeah.
how did you discover the Simple Business Builder? And then we'll get into the juicy story of how you booked your first 8K client and having 3-day work weeks with the program.
Yeah. So I actually discovered the Simple Business Builder in the middle of my chaotic life. I had already been following you for several years, but I honestly never visualized that I would develop a relationship like we have now that, I know you and we've spoken. Like I always saw you like some figure of like, oh, what she's doing is awesome. I'm going to follow her because, I want something like her someday. I was following you even before I was like so deep into my own business, but I was on your newsletter, following you on your socials, but sometimes like there's noise in your life and you don't listen to it because you're working, you're doing other things and stuff like that. But in the middle of my chaos, I started listening to your emails and something spoke to me that made me think, okay, like I know that you had that program. And when I started my online presence, I initially like took another high ticket program that taught me a lot of the things that I know right now. But then when I discovered you after that, I even thought to myself like, oh, I should have like joined Nisha's program from the beginning. So I had that like in my mind. And then when like your email started to speak to me again, I was like, maybe it's time. Like even though like there's never enough knowledge, right? And like we can educate ourselves, and sometimes you can join a program and sometimes it's like maybe I already know some of the stuff that she's teaching, but I think that there's something here for me that's calling me. So that's how I read about like the program, about the promise of like building that 5K 10K month and working 3 days a week was exactly what I needed to hear, because that's exactly what I was looking for in the middle of my chaos. And that's what made me like say, yes, I have to like join this. And I don't care if like I have to like rethink my niche, rethink this, because sometimes you think that you already have that defined. But when you look at it from another perspective, it really changes your life.
I'm glad that you mentioned that actually, because I think that rethinking your niche is something a lot of my students and clients don't think that they have to do when we start working together. And then we look at their niche and think, oh, actually, this is just, it's not specific enough. Or they think that they have been specific and it isn't. And
Exactly.
I think it comes from it being difficult to see the frame from inside the painting, so to speak. Like you can't really
Hmm.
see all of these types of things when you're deeply in your business. And sometimes it does take you working with someone or in some kind of coaching container, something along those lines, to have the issues reflected back to you. So that
Hmm.
I thought that was a really good point that you made. Did you have any hesitations before joining the program?
Yes, I did have hesitations. I think I actually was like the last person to join your program because I had money hesitations because I was in the middle of moving to the new city, in the middle of the house, unpacking things. I had a bunch of projects to work on. I think my two main hesitations was the investment because I mean, even though it wasn't super expensive, and I knew that like with one project I could easily, pay for it. I just felt like I have to protect my money right now, so I felt like that hesitation, and then I also felt that like, what if I join and like this doesn't really help me like all of the other programs that I've been through because I'm super intense. I'm the person that like when something's in my head, like the next day I buy a course or I read a book or I listen to a podcast or there's a song that appears like in my world that I have to like, reflect on. So I just had like those two major hesitations because I was like, I'm in the middle of my chaos right now. Like, do I really need this right now? Like, is it really gonna help me? Is it really gonna be worth it? I think that my hesitations were a little bit more deep than I have the time for it or not.
Yeah, that's totally understandable. I think a lot of people would resonate with that. Out of curiosity, what were you selling before you joined the Simple Business Builder, and what's the difference between that and what you sell now?
Yeah, so in essence, my prices didn't change much because
Mhm.
I'm also like pivoting into a passive income model, business model. So since I became a mom last year, for me it's so important the value of my time. So I started to like think about how I can create passive income in my business because even when you think that you have like a one-on-one business, there's always ways like, and you'll teach it all the time, there's always ways to like monetize and create that freedom in your life, right? So I had already like started experimenting with a couple digital products last year. So I was like experimenting with three digital products, but in essence, I still had like my one-on-one web design, and I was doing coaching because a lot of people come to me like even though I don't offer it, but they're like, hey, can you like give me coaching to help me define my niche or to help me do my email marketing or to help me do my content strategy? And it's like I would love to help everyone, but and since I want to help everyone always from my heart, that's why I was doing coaching, right? But then when I was like in your program and you taught me some things about niching down, it made me rethink those offers because for the web design, I thought that the value of what I was selling had to have an 8 or 12 week schedule in my life. And 8 to 12 week projects is what like I thought I had to sell to have the income that I want. But then I was like, it's a cycle that kept repeating itself because since I pour so much heart into what I do, I literally like last year, I wouldn't even say last year, since I started my business, I have never respected my time. And that is a really big problem for business owners because when you don't respect your time, you over deliver, and there's nothing wrong with over delivering. I mean, over delivering is what has brought me to have the amazing clientele that I have and to enjoy what I do every day. So I am truly grateful for over delivering and not respecting my time in the past. But something happened to me right now where I said I have to respect my time, and every hour that I spend working on a client project is taking away hours that I could be, playing in the park with my baby or going to the pool or doing something. So I really, really have to like rethink the time of my offers. And that's what your program like made me see because I was like, what if I could do website in a week? I know a lot of people do website in a week, and my website experience was like a program as well. I was trying to like sell you a website with an online course that didn't really make much sense. And when I was like going through your workbooks and like just immediately taking action, like, okay, Nisha, and I was listening to your videos like while I was, strolling with my baby because I didn't have time to sit down and see your videos. So I was like, okay, Nisha time, podcast time, and I was always like listening to you and thinking about these things. And since I'm an action taker, like the next days when I say I'm going to change things, I change them. And like, it's some people make such a big deal about putting something on their website. And I love that you also share that on the program, on the coaching calls, because I remember there was one person in the program that always kept saying like, I'm not sure when to launch your website. And we were all like, launch your website, like just with whatever you have right now, like it's not a big deal. And it's not that it's not a big deal. It is a big deal, but you have to be ready for what you're going to put out there and like lose that fear of putting it out there. If you don't lose that fear of putting out there, it's really hard to make things happen. So anyway, like sorry for, rambling a little bit around there. But yeah, that's sort of what happened. And then like I really got clear on I need to do website in a week. Eventually I want to do website in a day. But since there's so much that I want to give in my website experience, at least right now, I don't feel ready to do website in a day because I need some more systems in my business that right now I have to develop. So I said, okay, I'm just going to streamline this to website in a week. In parallel to your course, I also bought another course that taught me and is helping me like streamline that website in a week experience. In the middle of not having new clients, moving to that new city, not knowing if I'm going to be able to pay for all of these courses that I also invested in, but because I know that I'm investing the time in the right strategies that are going to bring me that income that I'm looking for. So that's what I did with that. And then with the coaching part, I was like, I think that you told me one day, like, it's so confusing. I don't understand if you're a web designer or a coach. And I'm like, you're right. I'm not a coach. So I just want to add to my website design, like the add-on that since I have that other SEO superpower and that's really easy for me to do. And I can do a blog, a year of blog strategy in just one day because it takes me 8 hours of like deep work of researching and doing all of that. And just giving that to someone and say, this is what you need to produce so that you get traffic from Google is really easy for me. So I said, why don't I just ditch my coaching calls that I have that, even though I would love to give everyone their proper energy, personalize each call, make something unique for each client. Right now, that's something that I can't give to people. Maybe in the future, I'll open them up again. But right now I said, I'm just going to monetize my days, and my days are like that. And that's when I came up with that offer, blog VIP days, like a simplified version that's $300, and then the full version that's $1,000, $997. And then my website experience, I was playing around with the pricing, but right now it's ranging from 3,000 to 5,000, depending if I do your copy or not. And yeah, that's sort of like what I did. But I think that the impact that had when I just said, I'm going to do this. And even though I don't even have the systems yet for this, but I'm going to do this, I updated my website with the new offers. And then when people were inquiring in between the chaos, in between I was moving to that new city, was when I got an inquiry from a referral. When one of my clients referred me to one of their friends, the client that I had previously had, I sold her a website in $1,500. And now that I had tripled my prices, I always tell my past clients, like, thank you for referring me. I want to be completely transparent with you. My prices are triple. Why? Because I realized that like what I'm giving away is more valuable than what I'm pricing it. And I would love to keep having referrals, but I'm just fully transparent. I always speak my truth. So it's like, thank you, but like your friends are going to pay more for exactly the same that I did to you. And every time I say that, no one is mad at it. And they're like, I'm so glad that you're growing, and I'm so glad, and I'm going to keep referring people to you because what you do is amazing. And that is really nice for me to hear as well. So these other clients were inquiring, and they saw that I have this like blog VIP days now, and they like selected, oh, I want to know how much everything is, right? And in the contact form, they said that their budget was under $2,000. And I said, okay, yeah, hi, your budget is under $2,000. So if you don't want to like invest in your business, but basically I didn't say it in that way, but that's sort of like what I translated in the message.
Yeah.
Like you can buy my passive income courses, you can buy my website workbook, you can buy my website workshop, that's there for you. You can do it on your own. It's totally fine. Like I don't have a problem with that. But if you want me to do all of this and to do the website with the blog VIP day and with your branding and with all of that, it's going to cost you $8,500. Are you in or are you out? Like basically it was a very nice conversation like that. Like we had a strategy call, and then I sent them like options. And I think that a really important part about abundance, since right now I'm also in the middle of an abundance meditation, is that like you also have to be flexible sometimes in the ways that you want to receive your money. So something that has always worked for me since I started with a mixed niche with people in Mexico, people in the US, and my pricing has always been off because I was always scared to charge what I'm worth because I'm based in Mexico. So what has always helped me is to offer payment plans. So I was like, I know this is a big investment for you, but I know that like if you invest in me, I'm also going to give you my time and my love, and something amazing is going to come out of this. So I gave them the option to like pay in 12 months. And for me, that works perfectly fine right now. For some people, I mean, sometimes splitting in 12 months might not work, but for me, all of my projects and most of the clients that I get pay me in 6 or 12 months. And it's a way of like a win-win situation, because it's like, it is a commitment. It is a commitment because the level of, sometimes it's like the level of money that you're willing to invest is going to come back to you if you believe in what you're building. And if you have that scarcity mindset, a lot of people don't invest in their business and or don't find the right people to grow, and it's totally fine. But that's sort of how my mindset is, and that's what made me like close that sale. And in the middle of that I was like closing other packages with other clients as well. And when I told them like I have this VIP day, people were like, oh, okay, yeah, add that to my payment plan. Like I didn't even have to like sell it, and I sold it to like 4 other people as well.
Wow, that is all so incredible. Honestly, those results are so amazing. And I just feel like you gave so much value just now, like, and it was just all incredible. Everything from, you've reduced your project timeline from it being 8 to 12 week website projects to now being a website in a week project for the exact same price. I am so pleased with you for doing that. And also for setting up that VIP day and making 4 sales. So that's like $4,000 from the VIP day that you set up. I really just love that you are someone who learns things and then you don't just stay in the learning zone. You're someone who goes and implements what they learn and then really, really experiences results from that. What tangible skills did the program teach you that helped you be able to secure your first $8,000 project?
Yes, so I would say that the tangible skills was like to bring that awareness to like revisit your business, even though you feel that you have it like structured. Because I was hesitant to do like the ideal client. And I mean, I think that we're actually going to talk about that in a second, but like I just changed my niche again. But it's like revisiting those concepts and revisiting the time. Like for me, this year has been like I have a mantra in my head right now. It's like the value of your time. So revisiting that concept really made me like use these tangible skills of sitting down and saying, how much time does this project take me? How much time does this other thing take me? How can I streamline this? What
Mm,
activity should I be doing in these 3 days? What is a non-negotiable? So I set up like my Green Studio CEO day that is like non-negotiable, and I can't work on client projects. And I started since I'm like a checklist person, sometimes like psychologically I need to check things or see things in my calendar in order for it to happen. So time blocking is something that really helped me. I think that I texted you every time that I felt free because it was a reality. I was like time blocking my calendar, color coding, like these are the hours that you have for your clients. And if you're not fulfilling what you have to fulfill in these hours for your clients, something needs to change. Your processes need to change, your systems need to change, your brief needs to be more better, so that when someone fills out their brief and you read it one time in 1 hour, you can develop the strategy in 1 hour. If I'm not achieving that, I have to polish my brief. And like I'm still in that process of, I'm not fully delivering the websites in a tangible five consecutive days. Right now, what I'm doing is like you're booking 5 days with a flexible schedule. So it's like I do most of the strategy, and then like you can have your time to look through things. And then I do like day 4 and day 5, maybe 2 weeks later, because I'm still like in that process of getting there. Eventually, I would love it to be like in consecutive days. But I think that those were like the tangible skills, like awareness, to everything, the value of your time, and then like directly implementing in whatever way is better for you. And for me, it's like seeing it on my calendar and taking those actions, or simply like when I never did this thing that I don't know if you said it on your program or I thought about it. I don't know, but I set up like my email signature of like my office hours are Monday through Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you are sending me an email, like I did get it,
Yeah.
but please expect a reply back in 72 hours because I'm a mom and in my work days. And that gave me so much freedom because since I'm an over deliverer, many times I have that anxiety that like, oh my gosh, I got a text. I have to answer right now. Oh, this client sent me an email. And it just gave me so much peace that like they can read that and they can see that like their email is in my inbox and I don't have time for them right now. And that really helped me in so many ways. You have no idea, Nisha. Like that gave me the freedom that I was looking for right now. And I was like crying and since I'm so intense and I share what's working for me with everyone, like I was, mom, look at my calendar, and my mom's like, you're so crazy, you're worse than your dad, because my dad is like super he's like Excel spreadsheets engineer, and my mom is like ex fashion designer. She studied fashion design and she's like creative, and I'm like the combination of both. And it's so crazy. But like my mom's like, you're crazy. And my husband's like, you're such a nerd. But like, I needed that. I needed to find that balance because I want to be that mindful mom, that mompreneur that has time for amazing projects with clients, but also has time to live. And that's the balance that I'm, working still on right now this year.
I love that. I'm curious, why do you think that you believed before the Simple Business Builder that you had to give 12 weeks of your, or 8 to 12 weeks, I think it was, of your time in order to charge this kind of money? Do you think there was some kind of limiting belief there?
Yes, there was, and you actually said it to me in one of the calls. I think the main limiting belief that I had, that I can say fearlessly right now, that is no longer in my mind because I'm doing a lot of mindset work, is a fear of scarcity.
Mm,
And that fear of scarcity was making me like say if I don't give my 100% to every client, because that's how I was brought up, to give my 100%, they're not going to feel that their investment paid off. So I need for them to feel that like I'm skin in the game, giving them, a lot of time and revisions and stuff like that. And then I was like, no, like it's the same that thing that you were saying at the beginning. Like if you can do a website in one day, or DIY something really fast, and it's really fast for you because you have the skill for it, that's the price, not the time. My price is my time and the skills of what I can achieve in my time, because I've always been like I, I would say it a little bit braggy, but I've been like a top achiever in the value of my time. Like in all of the professions that I've had when I was working at companies in the past, when I'm in a position and they gave me like, this is your job and this is what you have to do. And I was seeing people that were doing like, I don't know, Excel spreadsheets with processes that took forever. I was like, there's a way to automate this. Like, why are we spending all of our week doing this and wasting time? So that's sort of how my brain works, and I always think of how to reduce time and think in everything that I do in my life. So uh, I think that it was like that struggle and that scarcity mindset of like the use of my time, and breaking free from, my time is worth 30 minutes and it's very expensive, you know and you have to
yeah.
like break free and embrace that. And when you embrace that, what's meant for you is going to come to you. And I think that that's what you told me like in the coaching call, when you were saying for some people, like booking in advance and like having their time to work on their brief and then like having an intensive week with you is going to work. For some people it's not, and that's fine. Like they're not going to be the best fit for me, because right now I'm not looking to be a slave of time with clients. That's why I quit my job 4 years ago, and I was like
Yeah.
repeating that cycle. And right now I'm like, I'm not going to repeat that cycle anymore. I'm going to break free, and I am going to use my time how I want to. If people want it, fine, they can pay me and we can come to an agreement. And if they don't, you don't have to hire me. Hire someone else that will give you your website in 1 month, in 1 year, in 6 months, and with 500 revisions. That's not going to be me.
Yes, I just love all of these changes that you've made, honestly, because I remember it being very different at the very beginning of the program. I remember, the different like clients that you had and the way that you felt just spread thin with them and you didn't want to do these big, long timelines of projects that went on for months and months. So I'm so glad that things have changed for you. And I love that you mentioned the over delivering aspect, because that was something that we talked about in the program that quite a lot of the clients in there related to. And I relate to it as well. I think probably most women do relate to that feeling of needing to, or feeling as though you need to over deliver and give your absolute everything to this client so that they feel like it's good enough for them. And I love that you have really overcome that and got into this place now where you can still charge the same amount of money without giving absolutely all of your time, because the time is not what is valuable, the result is what is valuable, the result that you're giving them. Did you want to go into a little bit other things that you've learned about over delivering recently, just from like recent experiences that you've had with clients that have been tricky but have really taught you a lot of valuable lessons?
Yes, it's funny that you asked that because like crazy things have happened to me this year, and since like I told you, right now I'm like my mom energy, shoving away everything that's not useful for me in my life. I was very happy that this year I had closed, this 8K client, and I had a lot of other clients that I was still serving, but energetically they were draining a lot of energy from me because they were clients from last year that obviously were not paying the same amount of my new clients. But I never treat my clients different, despite what they were paying me. Like every time I upgrade the prices, like I'm giving you the same experience. I don't plan on like, raising my prices like a lot. But since I had this evolution as a business owner where I charged $50 for my first web design, can you imagine? So and now I'm selling projects that are $8,000. Like I had to have this phase of evolution of losing fear and having more confidence, and now I feel completely confident in what I have to offer. But the tricky thing here was that I started the year with 17 client projects, and I was like so happy that I was with this first 8K client, but with the other 17 projects, I was losing it. I was breaking, I was burning out. I was like in the middle of everything that I'm doing. I mean, I'm also human and I'm not a superwoman. And like at some point, you want to do everything. Sometimes I'm like a tornado and I want to do everything, but I was also burning out a lot. So I was very compassionate with myself and told every single client, like, I know I promised you that we would start your project in January, but the truth is that right now my life is a chaos. So I can deliver your project until X date. Is that cool with you? Cool. And that really gave me a lot of mental peace to like do the first 3 months of the year, like the projects mindfully and turn in everything that I had to turn in. But there still were some particular clients that, despite me having all of this flexibility from my side, over delivering, giving them more than that I had to, doing a lot more revisions that I had to, they started like draining a lot of energy again from me. And I was like, I think that since I'm bringing more awareness to my motherhood right now and to my present, I started listening a little bit more to my body and feeling that energy. And I felt that something wasn't right. And I was like, I mean, I did reduce my workload, and like at some point in right now during April, I still have like 10 ongoing projects. But I said, like, if two or three of these clients are taking up 90% of my energy, that right now the value of my time is the most precious thing. I don't really know if I need them. And I'm at the half of the projects with these people, and they were paying me X amount, but I was like, do I really need this? Like, I'm making a lot of changes this year, and right now my energy is the most important thing that I have to protect for me, for my family, for my business. And since I told you that, like, right now I'm with the abundance mindset and I started these meditations, I said I'm going to let go. And I ended relationships with a couple of clients that I had to end relationships with. I even offered them refunds that I thought that I didn't have to, but I energetically, I just felt like, I know that for you money is an issue, so I'm willing to give it back to you, because from the beginning trust I didn't listen to my body enough to, like, protect myself from these types of clients. But now I know how to listen to my body and protect myself from these types of people, right? So So I was just like willing to let go, and I let go. And I think that that has been the biggest lesson for me this year, because even though I'm letting go of the people that don't have to be in my workload right now, I know that the right people will come in because I'm making more time for them. And it's funny that when I let go of the people that didn't need to be in my life right now, and people, routines, everything in my life, like I'm letting go right now. I'm starting to see other things, and I also started getting it. It was like magic, Nisha, but I got like 5 inquiries in the past 2 weeks where no one had filled my contact form in the past 6 months. And I'm not saying, I don't want to sound crazy, like, I'm just right now manifesting things in the universe, but I do believe that there is magic in the energy that we give and that we attract. And since I wasn't seeing like the big picture of that as a business owner, and stepping away from that, and also, listening to your energy does amazing things. And right now, like, I can't tell you I've recovered those clients or that income. No, but I know that it will come because I'm working towards that. And that's where I'm at right now at this moment. And I feel really happy about the changes, because I'm letting go of that scarcity mindset, and I'm just choosing love, even though it sounds so romantic. But today is Mother's Day in Mexico, and that's what I feel right now, like, to just do things with love, and love will come to your life in whatever form of love that you need. And sorry for being so romantic, but I can't help it right now.
I absolutely agree. And I think just seeing, because I know we spoke briefly in the midst of when those difficult client situations were happening, and just seeing the difference in how you are right now and the peace that you have compared to how you were feeling when that client was just bringing so much demand and chaos. The difference is just amazing. And I think that you really are a great example to people that sometimes if something is costing you your mental health and your peace, it's too expensive. And that if you let that thing go, even if it is a paying client, there are going to be plenty of other paying clients out there who are willing to come in and fill the space that that person has freed up. And they're going to bring with them the same kind of energy and peace that you have, and not the demands and the chaos and all of that that was just really making it a difficult time for you. So yeah, I just feel really happy for you and really proud of you with just all of the steps that
you
you've
know,
taken, and the growth that you've experienced. It's incredible.
I couldn't have done this without you either. And I think that investing in your course is like, for me, was a representation of like letting go of those fears. And I think that when people lose that fear to invest in themselves, it's the best investment that you'll ever make. You don't have to be afraid of spending money on yourself. It's always going to give you something.
Oh, I'm just so happy that you've made the time today. I know it's Mother's Day, but just so happy that you've been able to make the time for this conversation, because I feel like people are just going to take so much wisdom away from this, from your experiences and your words. So thank you so much for joining me. And if anyone wants to check you out after listening to this episode, where can they find you?
You can just look me up on Google as Green Studio, and I will be there if you want to work with me.
Awesome. And we will drop all of her links in the description below so you can go ahead and find them all there. But Natalia, thank you so much for joining me today in this episode. It's been really amazing having you.
Thank you, Nisha. It was a really great pleasure to talk with you as well.